I was like, I like this idea. I want to build it. And yeah, here we. So first of all, I have a hackerspace in Ankara. This is something that I've started, and every week we meet up during weekends and we just start like new projects and we experiment with the things that we want to experiment with. And then the sessions that we have is basically we do something for an hour and we needed to present what we have done at the end. So this is the whole concept. And this idea came to me during one of those sessions. In one of those sessions, I was basically I was thinking of creating an animation, a video animation for this YouTube channel that I have. And in this YouTube channel, we are doing like interviews with the people from the community about their terminal setups. And we have like a different guest every week and so on. And I wanted to have like a rotating terminal like animation just for the parts that we are talking, and this would like play here, and then you would see like it's like a cool like placeholder footage, you know. And I needed this animation, and I asked on our Discord to create ask if anyone knows how to create something like this. So one of our members from our Discord, he created this animation and now we're using it. And this animation is okay, it looks cool, right? But the important part here is that this is a 3D wrap and it's written in Rust. And the thing is, the screen here, the surface is actually Ratatouille. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, how do we do this? Like we have this 3D video, this is the final output, and we have this Rust code, and so we basically create this animation entirely from Rust code using Ratatouille, and we can like change the like the surface text. So I was like, okay, how is this happening? So I basically started like reading the code, and it's when like it hit me during one of our like hackerspace sessions. I can use the same logic and try to like render something, but put that in the 3D space. So basically what I did was I took the same idea, like this 3D rendering idea, because now this is like using Bevy and Ratatouille. I took that and applied it to basically like other things. I started experimenting. It didn't happen like really immediately. I had like renders like this. So I was, yeah, this was super broken, but like I had this like 3D
It's
like,
something.
yeah, like 3D rat, and there's this rectangle in the background. But this rectangle is Ratatouille, and I was like, okay, this is getting somewhere, but this is so broken. And then I was like, okay, so how about instead of like having these two concepts, how about like I have a terminal, but the terminal is 3D, not like I have the terminal in the 3D space. You know, I basically had this weird idea, and now like I followed that up with some hours of just trying to like figure that out. And actually we have a new Ratatouille backend just for this. It's called Parlay Ratatouille. So yeah, like this took some time. I'm basically like forwarding to the future, but we have this new library for just font rendering on top of Ratatouille, and I took that and I generated a 2D image of the terminal, and then I put that into Bevy, and then I made the terminal 3D basically. So this is the final result. This is called Ratty terminal, and this is basically just like any other terminal emulator, but your cursor is a rat, 3D rat, like just an object, just literal object,
I love
and
it.
you can just have a look at this from different perspectives. You can just zoom into the rat, you know, it's just, yeah, like 3D, and everything works while you're in this terminal. It's just like any other terminal, like I said. So you can basically just do things like this. And one thing that I added is this mode, which is a
Love it.
Möbius strip, because why not? I actually experimented with other shapes too, because this is you know, it's just 3D rendering. So I tried to do like a plain bottle from the terminal. That wasn't successful. I tried to do this shape. I tried to do like a paper plane. This is Ratty. So this is what I have been building, and people are really excited about this because this actually paves the way for things like this. let me run the examples. So you can,
There it is.
yeah, you can render like 3D objects like this. I don't know. There's this draw demo, which is, you can render it like this.
Yes, I've seen. This is super interesting. This one. I saw this during the live stream yesterday. I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was this.
Yeah, I implemented this just recently. Basically, what this is doing is just take the 3D shape here and put it into a 3D object. And you can, like, now you can use the mouse to rotate it and so on. So this is something new that I implemented. But yeah, this is like an actual 3D object. And then what else? There was another one. And yeah, another part of this like inspiration came from TempleOS. If you guys know about TempleOS, it's a really cool like distro with some unconventional ideas. So this demo is broken, but yeah, TempleOS is also a big part of this terminal,
Okay.
basically.
No, I don't know this.
So yeah, basically TempleOS. Actually, we can run it now. I can show you. TempleOS is a wait. Let me just zoom in. It's this operating system. It's a really weird operating system, and it's actually made by a psycho guy, and then he like kind of got like, I don't know. It's just a weird guy, but like he was a genius. Like he made his own programming language, own like operating system, and own kernel and everything. And in this operating system, he had these 3D objects rendered as part of the command line. I saw this and I was like I saw a documentary of TempleOS, and he actually like demonstrated the command line in many videos and so on. So he was basically doing the same thing as Ratty, but in his own implementation. So this whole thing that you're seeing right now, this operating system, is his own way of doing things. Like everything is just his own implementation. So there's no way to use this in any like modern worlds like tools, or like you cannot integrate this with anything. It doesn't have networking because he believed that God just instructed him to not have networking in the operating system. So anyways, so basically this is TempleOS, and I was inspired by his like this idea of having 3D sprites as part of the command line. And this is now possible with Ratty because we can do that. And yeah, it just works. So people ask like, why did you do this? And is there like
There has
any
been a
point?
person.
Yeah, like what's the point? Like, is there any applications with this already? And so the thing is, there are so many possibilities with this, and I want to like see more applications with it. But now I cannot point you to, hey, there's this cool thing that is built. You can use this and so on. That I haven't seen that yet, but this gives you a lot of new, like this opens many doors. So I want to talk about one of them because I think this is a cool addition. So I think Francesco, you were in the live stream while I was working on this. I added this
I was.
update object thing to the protocol. Sorry, not the update object. What was it? This payload something, renderable payloads. Yeah. So this new addition is basically, so right now if you want to load an asset or like render a 3D object, you need to send the terminal this command. Let's have this in our screen. So you need to send the terminal this command, and just the
Okay.
terminal, like Ratty terminal, understands this and prints this object to the terminal. And the thing is, here you need to have a file, but with this payload, you can actually send a base 6, which means you can transmit 3D objects through something like SSH. So what this means is
It's not something easy.
yeah, but you can basically create an SSH app and you can send 3D objects to your terminal. So let's say you create a service and you can basically have, I don't know, like render 3D things on like remote servers. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. So there's this cool SSH chat room that I have been seeing lately. It's called late.sh, And if you SSH into this already, this is just an insane project. You're going to see a lot of things. A lot of things are happening here. Sometimes I go here and hang out. There's like, okay, I'll show you in a second. So it looks like this, and this is like any like chat room. There's like this IRC chat. There's like games here. You can even play poker. There's this drawing board as well. Like it's just like a crazy SSH server. So, okay, imagine you have this SSH app, but instead of this 2D drawing board, you have 3D objects, or you have like 3D characters just rendered on the screen. So I don't know. Possibilities are endless here. And you can build apps with this already. There's this ratatui-ratty widget, and it just works. So I'm just waiting for people to hear this terminal and start building cool stuff with it, because now everything is there. So yeah.
I love it. So this is a crate that acts as a bridge, if I got it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You remember this command? This is just like the raw terminal command.
Okay.
This widget is basically it does the same thing for you, but you can do it like in a more human readable way.
Got it.
Yeah, as a part of your Ratatouille app, basically. So you can basically
Got
use
it.
this in your existing Ratatouille project. And of course, you need to be using Ratty, because there's only Ratty out there who supports this.
Okay. So if I got it right, basically this replaces that terminal command in a library you can use importing in your project.
Yeah.
Okay, did I got it right? Okay. This is like a create reaction. But I think I got the idea. And why do you think that this? And of course you are using this, but also some other people can use this, of course.
Yeah, and I am these days. I'm using Ratty fully in my live stream. So now you can see the rat cursor. I mean, I can do stuff like this just randomly, and it just works. So I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, one question I have, because I think I need to try it out. I want to make a dedicated live stream. How do you blend it? Is this like is there like event? Is there like a keystroke or the mouse?
You mean this mode, or?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, like, yeah, to basically detach, or like to start blending the terminal, like, because I see the result, but I don't see what you are doing. So how do you trigger this?
These are just key bindings. And for me, I am basically pressing, where is it? Control. The Control, Alt, and Enter. And you can configure these as well. So toggle 3D mode is Control, Alt, and Enter. And the Möbius mode is Control, Alt, and Enter. So basically, when you press this, it just does this animation and just folds like this. And yeah, you can configure everything.
Because I have a crazy idea that I can say, I think, only in a late Friday live stream, because I have an idea, because I don't know if you know that, like, lately I've been working with Meta. They sent me a VR. So I'm thinking about, is it technically possible that I can connect some of these bindings to a VR and do this in an actual VR? Or maybe you already did something like that. What do you think?
I think it's definitely possible. I haven't done it. I don't have a VR headset. You should do it though.
Okay.
You can try. Just to give you like a little bit of an architectural overview, I'm using Bevy. Let's go to here. Just Bevy, like nothing special. And then I'm using Ratatouille and the Parlay Ratatouille for font rendering. And those are the 3 big crates, basically. And the whole app is basically just a Bevy app. You can just get a like an idea, or like an overview of this. If you go to plugin module, you'll see that this is like the whole like pipeline of the terminal, basically. So it just initializes some resources and then some systems, such as pumping the PTY output. This is for the terminal input, terminal IO, handle keyboard input, handle mouse input, handle window resize, and then, do some, I don't know, presentation stuff like the 3D, 2D, some syncing, adding inline objects, which are the 3D stuff, animations, and so on. So each thing here they are just functions, actually. So you can go here and yeah, it's a good question. So There was actually some controversy about that because in my blog post, which I mentioned this project, at the end, I answered that question really briefly. And somebody said,
Okay.
why did you answer that here? We didn't ask it anywhere else. And why did you clarify it here? Why did you feel the need to clarify it here and not anywhere else and so on? I have used some AI while developing this, but I was present at every step. So basically my workflow was, I want to do this, let me do this, either by handwriting it or using AI. And it was mostly AI. But then I was just making sure that I understand everything to the last semicolon, and then I move on to the next step. So basically, if you go to the Git history of the repo, you can see me trying different things and just, you can see the whole progression of the app because I was present on every step and I approached this as if this was my any other like open source project before LLMs. Before LLMs, we were just handwriting everything and I was just like I spent a lot of time with these projects. So one of the examples is here basically. A lot of commits, a lot of work went into this. If this was like in the AI era of programming, I would say this would be like 200 commits. You know what I mean? Because I was just handwriting each step. With Ratty, it's mostly, let's say,
we should not hide it.
I want to feel comfortable saying this out loud. I mean, without AI, I think this project would not exist because, like you have said, I don't want to like learn like, I don't know, 3D handling and like Bevy from scratch and then, learn all the things just to, have this maybe in 6 months or maybe more than that. I mean, I have other things happening. So why not utilize the tool and just have something that is working? Of course, that's the most important part, I think. If this was not like, if this project was broken and it was not working, maybe that could be like an argument against just AI assist programming. But now like this thing is, I'm using it. I'm daily driving it and I'm super happy with the result.
When I got serious about coding, I started probably in the worst possible way, which was game development and Unity 3D. So it's probably the worst possible career choice you can have because it's so hard, for example. But at least it was not boring. So I've been playing around with Unity, multiplayer, network, and stuff. And do you have any experience in playing around with some games and some things, something like that so far?
Yeah. So when I first started using Rust, there was this, I found this project on GitHub. It's part of a organization called Spicy Lobster now. I think it was, what was the name? Is it no longer public? It was, okay, hold on. Fish Folk or something? Fish Folk, I think. It was Fish Fight. And like, this was one of the, okay, I cannot find it anymore. This is one of the like OG Rust games back in the day. And this was like, okay, I'm still trying to find the repo, man. Where is this? Okay, it's renamed to Jumpy. Okay, it has almost 2K stars. Okay, where is it? Okay, there you go. Basically like a 2D like I don't know what it is called, like a arena fighting game or something. And this was like the first like Rust game that I saw on like GitHub, probably like first big Rust game, let's say. And I was like immediately interested. So I started like reading the code and I actually tried to contribute. I think I might be in I'm in the contributor list. So basically I did like macroquad for a while because I was trying to like contribute to this game. Yeah.
I used this library for the Crablo game.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I use the same, but man, it was a bit annoying. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was basically like, I had no game dev experience. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was able to contribute somehow. But like you said, it's just a bit like, it's not my cup of tea in terms of programming. So yeah, I did that for a while. And I think there was one other library called miniquad. No?
You see, so you can use this Rust to have this, which is basically a VR application. And then, of course, if I do a VR application, it can be about everything. Maybe I can import, if I do this craziness in Rust, it will be easier to import Rust packages. maybe
Yeah.
without any FFI the stuff. So this is my crazy project. Maybe for 2026, I will
You
keep you
know,
updated.
yeah. You know, what I wanted to do with this 3D terminal project was you can have this like warp mode where you just push through the terminal. I kind of like, have this like, I don't know, animation. I want to be able to actually punch the terminal. So you can maybe help me out on that.
Hmm.
You just like, on the VR side of things, you could just like do the, like,
My God,
I
I
don't
love
know,
this.
feel the terminal and just manipulate it in real time.
This is actually super interesting because then I can try to. I don't know how to do this. AI can help me, but maybe to try to connect other controls. Basically, now what you do. This is why I asked, like, how are you blending the terminal? So I think that if you reach a level when I can, punch or, for example, recognize some things with a VR, I think it will be a nice idea, even for a collaboration or stuff. So, but now I'll work, on the other side, trying to understand how to do, for example, a basic application in WebXR. It starts with a sort of hello world. But I think that if I create this application in WebAssembly in Rust, then importing probably your projects and stuff, it might be a bit easier, or I would say probably, or at least more pleasant for me. So at least I just read the Rust code, it's like the Node.js JavaScript thing, all Rust experience, but on a VR. So this was my
Yeah.
secret, the things, that I've been thinking for a while, but I also needed like an idea to build. So at least now I have an excuse, and probably I will start with something super simple. Then that's it. Also, no, two of my goals. One is to actually make a live stream in a VR, which someone told me it's
Mm,
possible. So that's just for fun, of course.
yeah.
And then you do, at least it's not boring. No,
Yeah.
just like that.
I mean, one other thing that I wanted to show people with this terminal project
Mm-hmm.
is terminal is just text, and it's just you can imagine it as anything basically. So in the VR context, you don't like, let's say you want to like build something with VR and the terminal doesn't have to be rendered with Bevy or
Uh-huh.
other architecture. You can basically have the terminal, like implement the terminal, which is just text. You get an input, you run the shell or whatever. You have that logic, and then you can have that as text or to the like 2D texture or a 3D thing or anything like it. So basically, you don't have to use like Bevy or I don't know, like you can use macroquad, you can do whatever. So
Mm.
basically you can like, I'm working on Ratatouille, so Ratatouille makes you able to just render terminal as in the way that you want. So if you build something with VR, you can probably use Ratatouille and have the same terminal logic, and then just have an entirely like VR app. You don't have to just bring in all the Bevy stuff from Ratty and so on. So, like another
Mm.
goal with this project is just to inspire people to think in different, like, perspectively.
Yes.
So
So
yeah,
I left. Yes. So I left the link here. So I will try to hope when I have time, because it was also super fun when I joined. Yes. I hope you reach 2000 soon. I don't know. Oh no, I know it's just vanity metrics, but it's nice to have to reach some goals. It means that we are doing something cool, a project that people know. So that's it. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this Friday night conversation. Any last thoughts for this Friday late night live stream?
thanks a lot for the show, man. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. Let's build, man. Let's cook some cool stuff
Perfect.
up, man.